The laughter still echoes in my head. It wasn't the warm kind of laughter you hear at family dinners. No, it was sharp, cruel, the kind that strips you raw. I had just stepped off the bus, duffel slung across my shoulder, boots still carrying the desert dust of deployment. My chest was heavy with medals, my uniform pressed crisp. I thought maybe, just maybe, coming home would mean pride, respect, a sliver of belonging. But instead, my parents stood on the porch with smug smiles. My brother Mark leaned against the rail, arms crossed, eyes full of judgment. And my sister Erin laughed the loudest. "Look at her," she sneered. "All that time away, and what does she have? Nothing. Just a uniform." My name is Colleen Hayes. I am 36 years old, and I serve as a captain in the United States Air Force. That day, I felt more like an orphan than a soldier. My family had never understood me. My father, Daniel, was a contractor who drank away his paychecks in neon-lit bars. My mother, Susan, lived for appearances, pearls at church, gossip in the afternoons, wine by 5. My brother Mark followed in Dad's footsteps, racking up gambling debts and pretending the world owed him. And Erin, my baby sister, was the darling, spoiled and cruel, always chasing attention, always looking down on me. The only person who ever believed in me was my Aunt Claire, my mother's sister, a nurse who worked double shifts and never complained. She had mailed me letters during deployments, pressed 20s into my hand when I was a cadet. She once told me, "Colleen, honor doesn't make you rich, but it makes you unbreakable." I carried those words with me into war zones, but my parents didn't see honor when I walked up that porch. They saw weakness, a chance to break me further. "You wasted your life," my father said that day. His cigarette smoke curled around his smirk. "Serving a country that doesn't care about you, while we built something real." Real. That word stung, because I knew what he meant. While I was overseas, they had been busy. Busy transferring assets into their names. Busy selling property my aunt left to me in her will. Busy laughing behind closed doors that the soldier in the family would come home to nothing. "Your aunt left you nothing," Erin chimed in, tossing her blonde hair like a queen. "She wanted Mom to handle it all. You don't deserve it. You're never even here." But I remembered holding Claire's hand in the hospital before I deployed. Her voice was frail but steady. "The house, the savings, it's yours, Colleen. Don't let them steal it." And now they had. I swallowed the fire in my throat, my fists trembling against my duffel strap. "Where's Aunt Claire's house?" I demanded. My mother's painted lips curled. "Ours. We sold it. Used the money for better things. Things we deserved. Better things." Her diamonds glinted as she said it. In that moment, the air around me went cold. I'd faced insurgents with rifles raised, mortars whistling overhead. But nothing hit harder than realizing my own blood had gutted my future for their greed. Mark chuckled. "What can you do, Colleen? You've got no power here. Just medals no one cares about." I turned slowly, meeting each of their smug faces, memorizing them. They thought I was powerless. They thought I was broken. But they had forgotten something. I had survived war, and I had learned how to win battles long before this one. That night, as I lay awake on the base guest cot, I called an old friend, now a lawyer. His words steadied me. "Colleen, if your aunt left you those assets, we'll get them back. All of them." And I knew in my bones that the next time I faced my family, they wouldn't be laughing. The courthouse smelled like old wood and dust, but to me it smelled like victory waiting to happen. My boots echoed as I walked the tiled floor, uniform crisp, ribbons aligned. Every step was deliberate. This wasn't a battlefield in Kabul, but it was still a battlefield, and I knew how to fight. My lawyer, Marcus Green, handed me a folder. "We've found it," he whispered. His eyes burned with quiet triumph. "Your aunt's original will. She left everything to you. Your parents suppressed it, but we can prove chain of custody and fraud." For the first time in months, my lungs felt like they could expand. Claire's voice echoed in my mind. Don't let them steal it. We walked into the hearing room. My family was already seated on the other side. My father wore an ill-fitting suit, jaw clenched like stone. My mother's pearls gleamed under the fluorescent lights, but her hands trembled in her lap. Erin had painted herself up as if it were a pageant, hair glossy, lips blood red. Mark slouched, chewing gum like he was above it all. When their eyes landed on me, dressed in uniform with Marcus at my side, their smirks faltered for just a moment. "Captain Hayes," the judge greeted. "Please take your seat." I did, my spine straight, my gaze locked on the people who had gutted me. As the proceedings began, their arrogance was put on display for the world. My father lied easily. "Your Honor, Claire trusted us. My daughter here, she abandoned the family. We did what was right." My mother dabbed fake tears with a silk handkerchief. "We never saw a will. If Claire wanted Colleen to have something, she would have said so." Erin chimed in with venom disguised as pity. "She's just bitter she has nothing. That's why she's dragging us through this. She always wanted attention." I sat silent, letting Marcus work. He laid out the will, the financial records, the testimony of neighbors who watched my parents clean out Claire's house before the funeral. Piece by piece, their lies unraveled. The moment that broke them came when Marcus revealed the forgery. He held up the family version of the will with signatures that looked shaky and false. "This was filed under suspicious circumstances," he explained. "And the notary listed here? Deceased 3 years before this document was dated." The room went silent. The judge's eyes narrowed. My father's face flushed crimson. I remembered being a girl, watching him bluff at poker with sweaty hands. He always folded when the stakes rose too high. And here he was again, folding in real time. During recess, I stepped outside, inhaling cool air. The courthouse lawn was dotted with autumn leaves, their crunch underfoot grounding me. Michelle, my cousin and Claire's goddaughter, joined me there. She wasn't wealthy, she wasn't loud, but she was honest. "You're doing the right thing," she said softly. "Aunt Claire wanted this. Don't let their poison trick you into guilt." I nodded, though part of me still ached. They were my parents, my siblings. Blood. And yet, they had cut me deeper than any enemy bullet. Inside, the hearing resumed. My parents' lawyer scrambled, but it was too late. The cracks were showing. Every word, every false sob, every smirk only painted them guiltier. I didn't gloat. I didn't sneer. I simply sat, steady as stone, letting the truth burn them alive. By the end of the day, it was clear. The judgment would not go their way. My father's hands shook. My mother refused to meet my eyes. Erin glared daggers as though her hatred could erase the evidence. Mark just slumped lower, realizing no amount of swagger could save him. And me? I felt the tide turn. The war at home was being won. The next morning, I drove past what should have been mine. Aunt Claire's house, white shutters, the smell of lilacs in spring, a place where I had spent summers reading on the porch swing. Only now the shutters were gone, the paint peeling, and a stranger's car sat in the driveway. The sight cut deeper than any battlefield wound. I parked a block away and just sat there, staring. In my head, I could still hear Claire's voice the last time I saw her. "This home is yours, Colleen. Promise me you'll protect it." And yet, while I bled overseas, my parents and siblings had signed her memory away. That evening, I confronted them again. They were all gathered in the new house they had bought with the stolen money, a sprawling brick 2-story with a fountain in front. It smelled of expensive polish and cheap wine. My mother lounged on the sofa in a silk robe. My father clutched a tumbler of whiskey. Erin scrolled on her phone, nails tapping the screen, while Mark leaned back with that same smug grin. I stood in the doorway, my uniform crisp, my chest tight with rage. "You sold Aunt Claire's house," I said flatly. My mother waved a dismissive hand. Don't be dramatic, Colleen. She left it to the family. We were the ones who needed it. No, I snapped, stepping closer. She left it to me, in writing. Mark chuckled. What writing? We never saw anything. You think a dying woman's word counts more than a signature on paper? The room went silent for a moment. My eyes narrowed. So you forged it. My father slammed his glass down, liquid splashing across the table. Watch your mouth. Do you think we'd risk everything for a measly house? Yes, I whispered, because greed has always mattered more to you than blood. My mother's face hardened. You've been gone too long, Colleen. You don't understand how the world works. You chose the Air Force over this family. Don't come back now expecting a hero's welcome. Her words dragged me back in time. I was 19, standing at the airport in my first uniform. My mother hadn't even come inside to see me off. She sat in the car, rolling her eyes. My father only muttered, "Don't come crying back when you've got nothing." Aaron had smirked and said, "No one will marry a soldier girl." Only Aunt Claire hugged me and whispered, "You'll make us proud." I clenched my jaw, forcing myself back to the present. You didn't just betray me, I said slowly. You betrayed her, everything she stood for, everything she wanted me to have. Erin finally looked up from her phone, eyes cold. Get over it. You were never going to live there anyway. You don't belong in a normal life. You belong out there. She gestured vaguely, as if war zones were an abstract annoyance. My chest tightened, but I kept my voice steady. I will take it back. Every cent, every acre, every lie you wrote will be undone. They laughed again. My father shook his head like I was a child throwing a tantrum. You don't have the guts. You're all bark. Always have been. I let their laughter fill the room. Let it burn into me like fire against skin, because I knew it would be the last time. That night, back in my car, I called my lawyer friend again. He confirmed what I already suspected. The will existed, but my family had misplaced it. We'd have to dig, to prove everything. As I hung up, I looked at my reflection in the dark windshield. The metals on my chest gleamed faintly. They think I'm powerless, I whispered. But war had taught me patience, strategy, ruthlessness when cornered. And I wasn't cornered yet. The gavel struck. The sound echoed like a rifle crack across the courtroom. Captain Colleen Hayes, the judge said, voice firm and unwavering. This court recognizes you as the sole beneficiary of your late Aunt Claire's estate. The fraudulent sale and transfer of assets is hereby voided. Properties and accounts revert to you effective immediately. It was done. All the years of sacrifice. All the nights lying awake, wondering if honor was enough. All the laughter of my family when they thought I had come home to nothing. It ended in one word. Mine. The silence in the courtroom was deafening. My mother's face drained of color, her pearls trembling against her collarbone. She whispered, "This can't be happening." My father sat rigid, jaw locked, fists white-knuckled against the table. For once he had no words. Mark muttered curses under his breath, his bravado stripped. Aaron stared straight ahead, lips parted, as if disbelief alone might rewrite the law. I rose slowly, my uniform sharp, my posture unshakable. Years of discipline pressed into every step as I turned toward them. You took everything from me, I said, voice low but steady. You mocked me. You tried to erase me, but you forgot one thing. I let the silence hang heavy. I fight battles, and I win them. My father's glare met mine, but there was no power in it, only the wreckage of a man who had gambled away both money and dignity. When I walked out of the courthouse, reporters swarmed, microphones flashing like muzzle fire. I ignored them all. The only person I sought was Michelle, waiting by the steps. She threw her arms around me, tears streaking her cheeks. Aunt Claire would be proud, she whispered. I closed my eyes, hearing Claire's soft voice once more. Honor makes you unbreakable. For the first time in years, I believed it. The day I took possession of my aunt's house again, I didn't rush inside. I stood in the yard, boots crunching the gravel, staring at the porch swing. The shutters were weathered, the paint chipped, but the soul of the house was intact. It felt like Claire was there, smiling. Michelle helped me unlock the door. The air inside smelled faintly of dust and lilacs, as if time had been waiting for me to come home. "This is yours now," Michelle said softly. "Not theirs. Yours." I nodded, the weight of victory heavy but cleansing. Weeks later, my parents' new home was sold at auction, ironically to cover the legal fees they had racked up trying to fight me. Aaron and Mark drifted into bitterness, blaming each other. My mother wrote me once, a letter full of venom disguised as regret. I burned it without reading past the first line. Because revenge isn't always about screaming. Sometimes it's about silence. Sometimes it's about watching those who mocked you crumble under the weight of their own greed. And as for me, I didn't just reclaim a house. I reclaimed myself. No more laughter at my expense. No more power in their hands. The girl they mocked for wearing a uniform had walked into their world with lawyers, with proof, with the truth, and she had left them in ruins. Now, when I sit on that porch swing at dusk, the air cool and still, I don't hear their laughter anymore. I hear the steady rhythm of my own heartbeat. Strong, unbroken, and I know one thing for certain: honor beats greed, every single time.